Due to some very unexpected weather and due to the threat of snow coming, we had to change our plans many times in the course of the 2 days that it took to shoot this video. We originally started off thinking this was going to be easy peasy. Well, it wasn't. We had to do some maintenance on the yard and get the snowblower ready, and by the time that day was over, it was just not an appropriate day. It was below freezing. I didn't want to rush the painting, and I knew the next day it was going to be a little bit warmer anyway. And I did want to get that final test paint on the wheel and look at it right up next to the R1 and the MT09, and then either make it a go or a no-go. So this morning I come out to the garage, check the wheel. The wheel looks absolutely beautiful. There's only one small little problem that may be a problem that we have to deal with today. It's in the 20s, not 30s. We're in Green Bay here. So what I decided to do, we're actually expecting some snow, maybe later today even. What I wanted to do is get all my farm work done early in the morning. Then if the sun comes out or it goes above freezing, I want it to be above freezing, I can paint the wheel. And certainly I'll bring it downstairs and let it where it'll be nice and warm. But it dried up beautifully. It's going to be a real valuable thing in the future to have that test wheel. Obviously there's work to do around this property. I've got to prepare. I didn't even take the snowblower out of the shed yet. And to get the snowblower out, I always get it out, fill it with gas, make sure it runs. Because I have woken up in the morning to giant snow that I couldn't get the snowblower out without shoveling it out. And then the shovel was in the garage. So you try to learn your lesson on these things. And we are actually ready if the temperature comes above freezing. If not, we'll just wait till tomorrow. But this whole side of the wheel now is in sealer primer. So I don't care about the other side of the wheel for now. It's this side I'd like to square away. I did a little bit of sanding with that new tool I just bought from Harbor Freight. And the old one looked like it was dying. Now we have a new one too. So first thing I'm going to bring that down to the cellar where it's a little warmer. Let that dry while I'm doing the work on the farm. Oh, it's cold out there. Ooh. Yeah, we'll be ready to paint. All we really need, I really don't want to jeopardize this test and try to paint when it's 28 degrees. But it's sitting under a heating vent now. It should warm up in the next hour or so. And I have a couple hours of farm work to do outside anyway, and get the snowblower ready, trim down some of the foliage, let this warm up, and if it doesn't warm up, we'll just pick this video up tomorrow. So at the end of every year, I put away the lawnmower, take out all the stuff that this is the last time I'm going to do this year. And once I get this done, then I put all the winter stuff outside, the summer stuff inside. And I will be ready for my, whatever comes my way, sweep the garage out here and get ready to work on motorcycles once that yard is clean. So the shed is organized now for the winter months. Well, now we have to see if that snowblower will start. After 27 years, 30 years, I don't know. A long time. Now I looked around to see if I could see a year of manufacture for this thing. It's old. It's actually, we bought it when Craig left the house to go to college. And talk about a bulletproof piece of equipment. This thing has been so good for so many years. Boy, you wish they made everything like that. But now, will it start? I feel like singing, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. We're all packed up. Now for the yard work. Well, we are ready now for real winter. Bikes are winterized. We're just waiting for some snow. Just wanted to give this a good shout out. I bought this lithium ion weed whacker. It worked to perfection. Got a whole season out of it already. And the battery is topping off right now. We got to cut the tall grass. Now all the tall grass around a pond, if I don't trim this grass back, a very ugly thing happens in the spring. The new grass grows right in between the old. So It's got to go. I always think people that live in Manhattan or somewhere, they don't have to cut grass, they don't have to do yard work, they don't have to have a snow blower, they don't have to do anything except make a lot of money. Well, in my life, this is part of my life. And to be honest, the exercise keeps me young. And those grasses are ready to come back in the spring. Oh, I can't wait for spring. It's really cold out here. Every year when I go to my cardiologist, he always says, you're in pretty good shape for a guy 92 years old. You know, he gives you that stuff. What do you do to stay active? I says, well, you know what? I do everything. Just try to be busy 24/7. To me, there's no substitute that I know of for just staying busy, being active, and doing some useful work. Makes me very happy. Oh, it's a wonderful feeling to be done with these tools for the year and let it snow. That was a wonderful summer we had, but I'm glad it's all cleaned up now. Oh, I'm ever glad that's done. Oh my God, if you only knew how happy I am that that's done here on the farm. We had so much fun with the farm this year and with the planting, and Joe Padula helping me make that stone garden out there, and Karen with the boxes. And the one thing I really miss is every morning coming out with Karen, having a cup of coffee, and filling up that bucket with tomatoes and zucchinis and squash. We had so much fun. It was, next to motorcycling, it was probably number 2. It was a lot of fun. But it's time, now we are officially, the yard is put to sleep for the year, for the winter. Snow blower is ready, and we're ready to start our serious motorcycle work at last. And as you know, I've been dreaming about those silver wheels, and today is not going to be a day to paint. It never really got into the 30s. And even though I drank a lot of coffee, it didn't warm up outside enough to paint. But we will live, for sure, live to fight another day. Just another little tip, these lithium-ion batteries, I've been keeping them downstairs and on charge, hoping that they last, because again, they are pricey, that's for sure. But boy, how much easier is that than making all that noise with the, well, I still got to replace that backpack. I want to go all lithium here. So the way this day played out, actually, it took a lot longer to do that yard work than I thought it would. And I never want to rush this. So it's supposed to be nice tomorrow and sunny. See, I want it to be sunny so it's a lot easier to spray. When it's a day like today where it looks like it's going to snow, it's terrible. So I wanted to really do a nice job on this side of the wheel, and this will be my final test before we actually, Craig's going to be here a couple more days, we're going to actually get that wheel pulled off the bike and start getting it work done. All that paint testing, it may seem a little like a lot of work, and why would anybody do that? Just go get a can of Rust-Oleum and paint it. Well, I want to develop this, and I want it to be right. And the biggest thing with my stuff, I'm willing to pay the price in time and energy. So at some point in time, I'm hoping we're going to have a much better way to paint wheels by not having it have so much paint on them. And then that edge will stay nice and thin. Just make it easier to change the tires over the course of time. But anyway, the video's not over here. I'm just going upstairs to have coffee. Tomorrow morning I'll come down all nice and fresh, and if it's sunny, we'll paint this, and I really feel good about getting all that crap done today. This property is a lot of maintenance, but it keeps me young. It's like the motorcycles, it keeps me young. You hire a landscaper, it takes 10 years off your life. You hire somebody to clean your house, 10 years off your life. Sooner or later, I don't know. I'm kidding about that, but I think the busier you stay, the better chance you have of having a long and enjoyable life. So anyway, I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and fresh and early, and with a big cup of coffee. So tonight, after I got done with the day's work, I went to the computer, got a nice email from Scott, a very complimentary email, and I wanted to respond to it here. And he said he went back on his computer and looked at the bike when I first bought it, and then went through the changes and was kind of agreeing with me on a lot of them. And the biggest one, of course, is the front fender. Polishing the wheels. And Scott, I did this pretty methodically over the course of a year, polishing up the whole exhaust system. All of these things are on previous videos. The tires, we had 2 flat tires on the back. Can't make that up. As I went to do the windshield and researched that out, made those little carbon fiber parts from scratch, And it's an ongoing thing. We still have another windshield on order we're going to be working on. But I was happy up to that point. But the big thing is I had parked them out in the driveway one day, right? I parked the MT09 next to the R1. And of course, they're pretty much the same color. And I liked the look of the silver wheels. The combination of the silver wheels and the Yamaha Racing Blue really floated my boat. And then I had John make some concept pictures with gold wheels and with red wheels and blue wheels and whatever. And we decided silver wheels were going to be the way to go. And among the things I made, the little detail things, the license plate bracket, we painted the little eyebrows, I call them eyebrows, blue. I had the paint custom mixed to match. Color Right does not have the paint available at the time I did this. We did the side covers, the little side panels. And this is an ongoing thing. Always, each step of the way, putting it out in the driveway, taking some pictures to look at. I added the quartz clock for my own convenience. I did the plugs on the frame plugs. Many, many little details. Did the test wheel, which we still have. We're going to paint that silver tomorrow. And I had the original paint on there just to see if I would like. I did a paint test, 4 different colors of silver. So that's basically where we are as I end today. What is the dish? Kielbasa?
Kielbasa and cabbage, yeah.
Kielbasa and cabbage.
And potatoes.
And potatoes.
Yeah, so sort of all in one.
But you can take a picture of his plate.
I'll take a picture of his plate.
Oh, yeah.
See your plate. So tell me what went into this. Kielbasa, cabbage,
Yeah, you could probably use...
lack of thinners. What went into it?
What was that? You want vinegar?
So Craig made a great kielbasa dinner for everybody, but now it's time. We got to cut bait or fish, and I'm ready. So this is funny, and you really can't make this up. Look at the headline here in today's paper. Coffee's brain protecting benefit. Now, these guys obviously are, they're in the paper anyway, so who knows if they do know what they're doing, because I've been in the paper, so you really don't know. But anyway, I read that, and boy, am I glad I drink a lot of coffee, and since Craig has been here, our brains are really getting caffeinated. Coffee's brain protecting benefits. Now, I know Turbo Steve doesn't drink coffee, he drinks tea. Maybe tea makes you, I don't know, sexy or something too, I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was fun to put on here as we get ready to start the day. So the wheels has had a couple extra days drying up under a heating vent here, as we've had house guests. But this is going to be now the real test today, and we're going to do it today. It's looking like it's going to come up to about 35 degrees by midday. We're going to take it and get this painted. First thing I want to do is thank Turbo Steve and Maria for the jars. This time of year, we can never have too many jars for mixing paint. So this is still some of the clear that Joe Padula donated to our cause. This is what's left over from his Ducati fairing project, and it's worked well so far. So a couple of tips, always a good idea if you're not going to use this for a while, to keep it in the fridge. That was a tip we got from Bob Brookins, and he is a winner of many custom car shows, among other things. So I want to mix this up. My plan is pretty simple. I want to mix one batch, which will probably be 5 ounces, roughly. Now what I want to do with that, I'm going to divide it in half. I'm going to put silver pigment in the first half and go spray the wheel. Then I'm going to wait about an hour and clear coat it. And then see if, the objective is to see if I can make the paint as thin as possible around the wheel edge and yet still have enough that I can buff it out or touch it up or whatever I still have to do when this is done. So this should be the final test before I actually paint the MT09 wheels, but I can't do that until Craig is actually gone because we're spending so much time doing family and cooking. Actually, every day he's making gourmet meals for us, so it's handy having him here. And thank you, Craig. We appreciate it. Now, I've gotten a lot of emails from Scott, and he's experimenting with some kind of a clear coat, and he sent me some information. I'll try to get more of that on the video. He, of course, makes his own videos, so I don't want to step on his toes. And he's a believer like I am in information sharing, but I don't know the material that he's using. I'm not familiar with, but I hope he'll give us that information in the near future, or give us a link and we can pass it on. I've already looked at it. Looks promising, but again, I like to have choices. I don't like to single source anything. I like to have, if one company goes out of business, you just go next door and you get the same product from them. I have several body shop supplies that are good, and I like Gavin's the best. They seem to be pretty good at mixing paint, and well, the rest is history. They've done it for me twice already with good success. Once this is shaken up, and of course one of the tips I always try to impart on people is don't stir it with a wooden stick. And again, I've heard that from several people, including Bob Brookins, that really run body shops and know that kind of stuff. Not sure if it's true. You figure it out. I'm going to take roughly half of this, and it's not critical if it's exactly half. Maybe even a little more than half. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to put half of this away. This is going to be our clear. And I'm going to take this, and this is the paste pigment that we have. It's from Randolph Products. That this is over 40 years old. It's really old stuff. But anyway, no set amount. I'm just going to do it till it looks like it has good coverage. Try and, of course, not to over pigment. I don't want to make it so, I only have to paint half a wheel here. And the main thing is to get the paint on the part where the tire would mount, that whole inner rim. I want to be very careful with that. And once this dries, maybe an hour, 45 minutes later, we're going to clear coat it. Looks like we have a decent day that was worth waiting for. But as always, this is always one of the critical things. I want to get all the pigment off of here. One of the things is to constantly, in the course of doing any metallics, liberally shake it and strain it. Straining is very important, especially with this paste pigment. The one we did the original test with all the different color pigments, this is the one that kind of won out. But if this doesn't work, we always have the fallback of using up the paint we have left over from the R1 wheels. But this is paste pigment and 4-to-1 urethane. So it was a reasonably good day for painting, and you know, the problem is there was basically no sunshine. It was a cloudy day, and it was warm enough to paint, unlike yesterday. But it really wasn't a perfect day in terms of, I would have preferred to have some sunlight to do the final comparison on it.
I'm going to put 2 coats of silver on it. Looks like I either could put a little more pigment in there maybe, or just give it a second coat. Since I have plenty of paint, I'm just going to give it a second coat.
Well, it really did need a second coat, and I think what happened was I just didn't put enough pigment in the first coat. Because remember, what I'm trying to do is minimize the amount of paint on the wheel, especially on the edge where the tire mounts. And well, we're learning as we go.
Now the coverage was so good I got enough paint left over. I'm just going to do the other side of the wheel just to use up the paint. But this is the side I wanted to really see. Now, I'm almost sorry I didn't prep this up a little bit better. Maybe could have sold somebody that wheel for 10 bucks or something.
So in this final test, I did learn a relatively important thing, is just to put a little more of that paste pigment in. I'm used to mixing powder pigment, so I really did need to put a second coat on this. But it's not going to be a problem because the silver covers so well. Now, even though it warmed up today and it's a usable painting day, it's way above freezing. In fact, the only problem here is we don't have any direct sunlight, but I can see already that's going to look fine. That color is just, I think that's going to be a good choice for the MT09. Now what I'm going to do, let this dry, give it an hour or so, maybe a little more in this cold weather, and then put the clear that's left in that, we have a little bit left, I think. We mixed 4 ounces, 5 ounces, so we probably got 2 ounces left. But that should do a whole wheel. That should be fine. And this is really a nice color. You know, I really didn't think I didn't think this through. What I should have done is prep the wheel. Would have taken an extra day. And when I was all done with this, I would have had 1 wheel ahead. If I ever want to change the wheels on the RD, I would have had 1 done already. This one obviously needed to be re-prepped and everything. But it's okay. It's a good test wheel. So while that's drying, we'll just have another brain-saving cup of coffee. That was pretty funny in today's paper. Probably true though, those guys are real doctors. Alright, I cleaned the gun. I'm going to put the clear in. This is only going to be clear. And we'll be ready to let that dry and see how it comes out. And this is the part of the job that would have really been nice to have some bright sunlight when you start putting it clear on. When you're doing it on a gloomy, cloudy day like this, it's just difficult to see where you're getting paint buildup and where you're getting orange peel. And as always happens, halfway through the day, the wind started blowing. Just when I wanted to get a nice final coat of clear on everything, I had to deal with the wind howling. Well, it's just a question of letting it dry, and then we need a sunny day that we can get out and get a real look at what this is going to look like in the bright sun, which is the real test. But that went pretty well. It's a long time coming, but once this is done and I'm happy with it, we're ready to paint MT09 wheels as soon as Craig goes back to Denver, and I'll have full time back in the shop. Now, I use this time that I've been part-time in the shop to my advantage to give these things a lot of thought and think about the colors and do all the paint testing that I wanted to get done. And right now I feel like it was well worth it. Now, I really think that was a good choice of color, and I can see there's big planes of light reflecting. It's going to look nice. I really wish I would have prepped that wheel. If worse came to worse, I could have given it the call for his RD. Wow. Well, that was my mistake. We won't make that mistake. We got 5 of these wheels. That was pretty funny. Anyway, I just couldn't be happier the way that played out. And I think for all purposes, we are ready to paint MT wheels. I'm psyched. So I wanted to look at, just picturing in my mind that silver, how that's going to brighten up. See the MT with the blue wheels? I think the silver wheels are going to look a lot nicer. And I try to look at it from every possible angle. But again, we don't have real sun, but that color is going to really brighten it up, and it's going to look good against the polished exhaust. The handlebars are that color, and at some point in time I may want to change that logo, make that bright silver, something. We don't know yet. A million little things I want to do to this. The frame covers worked out great. That kind of cleaned it up a little bit. But the big one here, the big one is going to be the day we have the wheels on and brand new tires, and it's spring. So that's part of my Yamaha collection, and what I want to have ultimately is 2 with matching silver wheels, Yamaha Racing blue paint. Looks like we're well on the way to doing it. Now, as I look out here, when it is not sunny right now. It's supposed to snow, in fact. As I look side by side with this color silver and that color, that one might be a little bit brighter, but remember, we always have this as the backup. But having a little bit brighter silver, just makes me think. Anyway, I know that the silver wheels on this bike brightened it up. To me, it just changed the whole look of the bike. And I'm sure that's what's going to happen to the MT09 at some point in time. And we'll have all those videos on our channel in the winter to come. Now, we do either work in the shop or ride pretty much every day, and we do try to post a video almost every day, so I hope you're enjoying these. Now, as I'm looking at them side by side, the paste pigment is definitely brighter than by a small amount. Not a lot, but a small amount anyway. And it's a pretty good match to the handlebars, that coating of, it's not paint, I'm sure, on the handlebars. So, and the other thing is those logos. I have some ideas for logos, but that's the lowest priority thing right now. Getting that frame cleaned up was important. This whole bike, it's just one big adventure, and I hope you're enjoying sharing it with us. But that looks like a win-win to me. That looks like a much better way to paint wheels. This was the old school way. Now, a funny side note, I just got some pictures the other day from Les McDonald. He's a world champion modeler, and obviously he's got an interest in motorcycles. In fact, he's one of the reasons I was attracted to the MT09. I know he had an FZ. And so what happened is, he picked up, I think it's an FZ7, but I'm not sure, but it had blue wheels, but the bike was silver. So the silver and blue Yeah. Now I don't know. See, to me, this is from an artistic point of view. There's just the blue wheels on a blue bike don't make it. I like this a lot better, but hey, that is all in the eye of the beholder, 100%. Now I always try to end every work day, every day I do anything cosmetic, I'm looking at it in every different light possible, and today I was limited, I don't have any sunlight, but I wanted to see the two bikes, the two blue Yamahas, and out in the bright sunlight and see. I think I came to the conclusion that that silver paste paint is going to be a winner, and no matter what picture I look at, it always looks a little bit brighter than the R1 color. But that's why you do the paint test before you spend all the time painting the wheels. Well, it's been a long time coming, but I think this wheel has really served its purpose. I learned a lot from mixing the paint, and I think it's all going to show up in the final product. Now the only thing left will be to see. Now this is really, it's cold out here. It's probably 35, 37 degrees, but just make sure this dries up, and we will not know that till tomorrow. And in the meantime, Craig is still going to be here for a couple of days, so we want to eat as many pierogies as possible and take advantage of his gourmet cooking and free labor, by the way. And who knows, we may get a ride yet. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of my friends and who really don't understand what I was trying to accomplish here in the course of doing this test wheel. And, well, I try to explain it as best I can, but sometimes it's difficult to explain. The reason for this whole project was I wanted to have the wheels on this bike be as bright of a silver as I could have without being chrome or looking like chrome. I don't like the look of chrome wheels on a motorcycle. But that's personal and subjective, like everything is in motorcycling, and actually everything is in life. And I really spent a lot of hours, I know you don't see it on the video, to get the final decision and the final paint mix and the final way I'm going to do these MT09 wheels, which will be on videos very soon. It's really critical. It's a critical part of making that bike my own, and I hope you enjoy sharing it on the videos on YouTube. So if you enjoyed the video, I hope you share it with your friends, and of course I hope, most of all, that we'll see you tomorrow. And thanks again for watching.